I don't know if I should be telling you this. Even now, as I sit here, my heart races at the memory. It's not the kind of story people usually share, because once I tell it, it won't just belong to me anymore. It will belong to you too. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand why I stayed that night when every part of me said I should have turned away. It was raining harder than I'd ever seen. Sheets of water fell from the sky like the world itself was trying to drown out my thoughts. By the time I reached the cabin on the hill, my clothes were drenched, clinging to me like second skin. My fingers trembled as I raised my hand to knock, but the door opened before I could strike a second time. Standing there was Ethan. Tall, silver at the temples, broad-shouldered in a way that carried quiet strength. His eyes softened the moment he saw me. "You must be freezing," he said, his voice low and steady. "Come in." I hesitated, but something in his tone left no room for refusal. I stepped inside, the warmth of the fire wrapping around me instantly. The scent of cedar smoke filled the air. My wet shoes pressed into thick rugs that muffled my steps. Then another figure appeared. Michael, bearded, with warm brown eyes, dressed in a heavy knit sweater that smelled faintly of pine and campfire. He didn't wait for me to ask. "Here, let me get you something," he said, already reaching for a blanket. He wrapped it around me, tucking it close against my shoulders. His touch lingered just long enough to stir something I didn't want to name. Before I could catch my breath, a third voice spoke from the kitchen. Daniel, younger, leaner, a dark tattoo curving out from under his collar. He moved quietly, with the calm precision of someone who didn't waste words. "I'll make tea," he said, and disappeared into the kitchen, the clink of a kettle soon filling the silence. I hadn't spoken a single word. My throat felt tight. My chest, heavier with every passing moment. Michael crouched by the fire, coaxing it back to life. He glanced up at me. "You can sit," he said gently. "That thing looks heavy." I sank into the couch, tucking my legs beneath me. The blanket was heavy, but comforting. When Daniel returned, he carried a cup of steaming tea. His fingers brushed mine as he handed it over. Warm, steady. Our eyes met, just for a heartbeat. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. That simple brush of skin sent a rush through me. The tea was strong, spiced in a way that grounded me. I cradled it between my palms, letting the heat sink in. Michael shifted closer, sitting on the rug near my feet, his knee pressing lightly against the couch. "Still cold?" he asked. I nodded, wordless. His hand touched my ankle, his thumb stroking slowly, as though checking if I was warming up. I didn't move away. Ethan returned from the hallway, carrying a folded shirt. "You'll catch something if you stay in that," he said softly, nodding at my damp clothes. "You can change behind the couch. We'll look the other way." The three of them turned, deliberately averting their eyes. My hands shook as I dropped the blanket and peeled away the wet fabric, the sound of it sticking to my skin almost louder than the rain. I slipped Ethan's shirt over my head. It was warm from his hands, soft and worn, falling long past my hips. For a moment, I just stood there, heart pounding in my chest, before stepping back into view. They were seated now. Watching. Not staring, but not looking away either. Their gazes heavy, steady, impossible to ignore. I curled back into the couch, clutching the blanket once more. The fire cast an amber glow across my knees. Daniel's hand rested on the cushion near mine. Close. Too close. When my fingers drifted over, almost unconsciously, his pinky brushed against mine and stayed. My breath caught, but I didn't pull away. "I should probably head back soon," I whispered, my voice breaking the quiet. Ethan leaned forward, his silver eyes never leaving mine. "Or," he said, "you could stay here." The words hung between us like a question I wasn't ready to answer. Outside, thunder rumbled, low and threatening. The storm was growing worse. The wind shook the windows, but inside, everything was still. Michael reached for the blanket again, draping it more securely across my lap. His hand lingered at my hip, his gaze searching mine. Behind me, I felt Ethan's presence before I saw him. Warmth at my back. His hand smoothed the shirt at my waist with a slow, deliberate stroke. "You're safe here," he murmured. "You don't have to think." Daniel's hand slipped fully into mine, his grip steady, his shoulder brushing against me. The weight of his arm across my thigh anchored me in place. Behind me, Michael's fingers lifted strands of wet hair from my neck, his touch featherlight against my skin. "I didn't expect this," I whispered. "You're not the only one," Michael replied, his voice close, low, intimate. Ethan's fingertips trailed up my arm, steady and measured. Daniel leaned forward, his forehead brushing against mine, his breath warm against my lips. My heart hammered. My thoughts blurred. And then I closed the distance. The kiss wasn't hesitant. It wasn't rushed. It was warm. Real. Daniel's hand cupped my cheek, his thumb brushing my skin with care. Michael's palm rested lightly against my back. Ethan's touch steadied me at my ribs. I didn't know who moved first, but suddenly, I was held on every side, surrounded not by the storm but by them. Michael stayed at my side, his shoulder grounding me. Daniel tucked the blanket more carefully around me, as though protecting me from the world outside. Ethan crouched by the fire, watching with quiet intensity. "You're warmer now," Ethan said finally. I nodded, unable to find words. The storm raged louder outside. Rain hammered the glass, wind howled against the walls, but inside was calm. Steady. "I didn't think I'd be here this long," I murmured. "No one's asking you to leave," Ethan said firmly. His voice was even, but there was something more beneath it. A promise. Daniel dimmed the lamp, the room softening into shadows. Michael adjusted the blanket where it had slipped, his fingers grazing my skin. My breath caught, but I didn't move away. "I think the storm's worse now," I said. "It's not easing up anytime soon," Daniel replied. And just like that, I realized, I wasn't enclosed. I wasn't trapped. I was wrapped in their presence, surrounded, held. Not a prisoner, something else entirely. "I'm okay," I whispered. I didn't expect a night like this." "You don't have to expect everything," Ethan murmured. "Sometimes, it's enough to just let it be." Daniel's hand remained steady in mine. Michael stayed close, his warmth grounding me. Ethan's watchful gaze held me in place. I closed my eyes, not to sleep, but to rest. And even now, I ask myself the same question I'll ask you. If you were on that couch, would you have stayed?